Welcome everyone to the 11th commencement of the International Institute for Restorative Practices. Please be seated. I'll begin by introducing our board chair, administration, and faculty. Please stand and remain standing when I call your name. Bill Ballantyne, chair of the board. Linda Kligman, vice president for administration. Dr. Craig Adamson, provost. Dr. Frida Rundell, professor. Dr. Gina Abrams, assistant professor. Mary Jo Hebling, lecturer. Zoe Modig, librarian. Dr. Michael D'Antonio, lecturer. Elizabeth Smull, lecturer. And Jamie Kaintz, our director of student services. Welcome. Please be seated. Next, Bill Ballantyne, the chair of our board, will say a few words.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here to congratulate our graduates on their achievement. I would just like to share with you a few statistics that demonstrate the international reach of the IIRP and restorative practices. To date, we have awarded 188 Master of Science degrees. This year, it'll be 19. Our graduates are from 10 countries, including the United States, 5 continents, and Central America. So there you go. At this point, I would like to turn the ceremony over to Dr. Bailey.
Thank you and a warm welcome to IIRP Board of Trustees, faculty, and staff, and especially the graduating class of 2018. I'd also like to recognize the family and friends of our graduates who are here today. We recognize that no one does graduate study alone. Your family does it with you. And I'm sure that our recent graduates could not have done it without you. This day would not have been possible, truly, without your support and your love. In a moment, you'll have an opportunity to hear from the IIRP Provost, Dr. Craig Adamson, and our student speakers, Melissa Ash and Lamar Culpepper. But I want to say a few things before we hear from them. The graduates you see before you are the leading edge of a new and vibrant field within the social sciences. Restorative practices is a new field of study that is positively influencing human behavior and strengthening civil society throughout the world. All human beings are hardwired to connect. Just as we need food, shelter, clothing, human beings also need strong and meaningful relationships to thrive. Restorative practices is an emerging social science that studies how to strengthen relationships between individuals as well as social connections within communities. When put into practice systematically, the impacts are profound. In schools, students experience greater safety, sense of belonging, and improved behavior, less bullying and less violence. In workplaces, leaders facilitate more direct communication among staff, maximize creativity, and address conflict with greater emotional intelligence. The result is higher performance, greater accountability, and effective collaboration. In criminal justice, new options in the wake of crime allow victims and offenders, friends and family, to repair the emotional harm done by crime. In our neighborhoods, restorative practices give regular people more voice and the ability to impact the decisions in their lives that matter to them most. In a nutshell, restorative practices is the science of relationships and community. Your daily individual interactions have a big impact on the world around you, at your job, with young people, and throughout your community. How you relate to everyone within your community matters more than you might suspect, especially those whom you disagree with, who see the world differently, and even those whom you might fear. If our communities are the sum total of our relationships, then our ability to manage those relationships effectively and with more grace is paramount. The graduates you see before you today are the ones doing this work every day, in small ways that often go unnoticed. But have no doubt they are planting the seeds that will one day grow into the new communities, ready and evolved to meet the challenges of the 21st century. Now they'll continue this work, though, as a part of a passionate network of IIRP alumni, working as researchers, practitioners, and civil society advocates around the world. The work of our alumni has a social impact far in excess of their numbers. The mission of the IIRP Graduate School is to advance practice, scholarship, and research in restorative practices, and most importantly, to support all of you with the work you do going forward. I'm sure you'll continue to support the continued growth and development of our graduate school as well in pursuit of our shared mission. To our graduates, today we recognize your incredible achievement of a Master of Science in Restorative Practices. You have, without a doubt, demonstrated all of the competencies, insights, and skills the world expects from a master's level scholar and practitioner. We also know that going forward from today, you'll be the professionals, leaders, and role models the world so desperately needs. We are honored to be with you today, and you have the support and blessings of the entire IIRP community for your future work. Congratulations. And now, Dr. Craig Adamson will introduce our student speakers, the ones you really want to hear from today.
Good afternoon. I want to first welcome family, friends, and loved ones of the graduates. You know best how hard each of the graduates work to accomplish this academic achievement. Today, I also want to welcome, this is for the first time, we have several students that are live via Facebook. So we're virtual today in today's ceremonies, and we have students from around the world as far as South Africa. So welcome as well. I would also like to welcome trustees, administration, faculty, and friends that came to celebrate with us today to honor the IIRP class of 2018. As we gather to recognize these scholar practitioners in front of you today, in making the transition from student to master, I want to take a moment and recognize their dedication, determination, and commitment to making this world a better place. I've had the honor of having many of these graduates in different courses throughout their time here. I get the opportunity to connect and better understand what motivates each of them. One of my favorite courses to teach is the final capstone course. President Bailey and I co-teach this final course because we get to better understand what experience the graduates have and what really motivates them in their restorative mindsets. And I can confidently say we are all co-creating this emerging social science of restorative practices. Thank you. IIRP, of course, does not make claim to the graduate's success. Your success is your own. But we take huge pride in your successes. To be able to count on your expertise as relevant, practical, and innovative agents of change, that's something no institution should take lightly. Today, we get to hear just a sample of the thinking and perspective from our graduates. We have two graduates who volunteered to provide you with some insights on restorative practices from their perspectives. Melissa Ash and Lamar Culpepper have graciously accepted my invitation to speak to us today. Please welcome them to the podium.
So we will not be proceeding in alphabetical order in delivering these remarks. My name is Lamar Culpepper. At the age of 62 now, after 4 decades of wandering without a clear and focused purpose since I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in the field of psychology, I am here only because of a commitment inspired by an opportunity in the face of compelling challenges. The opportunity had not existed in 1978, the opportunity that has fulfilled for me what now matters most, the study of this unique discipline that promotes restorative values and principles in this curriculum created and made available by the International Institute for Restorative Practices, and the dedicated, most dedicated people who diligently work to advance the cause of restorative justice practices in the world. I know that all my graduating class and all the students continuing in their studies and all the restorative practices educators, practitioners, and researchers clearly share the same commitment, inspired by these same ideals in the face of their own personal compelling challenges. Though I have presented before more than 9,000 people over more than 10 years in both public and private venues and behind the walls of prisons and jails, never have I been more present to the profound gravity of the words I share today in conclusion of this latest, often arduous challenge of accomplishing the work for a Master of Science in restorative practices. I so gratefully acknowledge this privilege and the honor of standing here, representing others of my graduating class, even as I also pledge to represent and honor in the world the distinct restorative values we all share as practitioners. At the heart of these values must be respect for all. Dr. Howard Zehr has written that if one word could best represent restorative justice and its practices, that word is respect. As a restorative practitioner, I know that I cannot stand if I do not stand also for others and their concerns, and can know their fears, caring for what they care, yearning for what they yearn, grieving for what they may grieve, suffering for what they suffer, struggling with what they struggle, and even celebrating with them their joy. This is the compassion that respect brings to our humanity. Respect that honors us all as the same for our humankind, whoever we are, whatever we ever have done. The personal significance of restorative practices in the context of our life experiences is also relatable to everyone hearing my voice, because every one of you has been impacted by violations and injustices, whether as one who had ever committed any serious or even the most minor offense against another, or as the one offended, or for having witnessed the inhumanity perpetrated by humanity. Your story then becomes my story. My story must become yours. Though the characters and the settings may vary greatly, the conflict is always the same. The harm and the pain and the suffering are always the same. We have all wrestled between wanting to exact retribution out of a desire for revenge when offended, and wanting to seek a way of restoration for reconciliation and healing, out of our need for compassion, and out of a need to be compassionate and even forgiving, regardless of our own pain or distress. On the most life-altering, fateful day of my life, June 26th, 2001, I retrieved the voice message from a missed call left by the father of my firstborn son's best friend in Sarasota, Florida. He says, "Lamar, you need to call me back right away. Something terrible has happened with Dominic. He's been arrested and is in jail. Just call me back." I call him immediately. He answers, and I can hardly comprehend what I am hearing. Dominic's been arrested. He's being held for the killing of another teen. That happened yesterday. He's being called a teen slayer in the news. The story's been on all the news channels, and it's on all the time. I get off the call, and I'm now calling his mother and calling anyone I can for more information. In the weeks that follow, I awaken every morning to a day that is the horror of a nightmare of disbelief and shame. I cannot bear to believe my son has killed someone. The suffering of the mother and father and family members and the friends of my son's victim, Wesley McCool, is unimaginable to me and shall always remain unimaginable. From that day begins my journey on this path that I have walked through so many years and through many prisons and jails, standing for the redemption of the discarded lives of those whom others fear and hate, while also standing for those who have been harmed by them, including the mother of my son's victim. And that now has led me to stand here before you. The traumatic impact of my son's offense upon me, as well as upon the family members and friends of his 16-year-old victim, and the countless numbers of people in the Sarasota and Bradenton, Florida community, has provided the impetus for me eventually being led to discover the IIRP. just as what all of you have confronted in your lives has prompted your commitment and led you here to this uncommon cause we share. We stand for this uncommon cause of restoration, not as a pretense or pretext for justifying conflict or for creating or worsening conflict, but for resolving conflicts and healing harm. That is an uncommon cause in this world of revenge and justified retribution and ever-escalating and expanding conflicts. Our commitment to the overarching core value of respect for all must forever be honored, or restorative justice and restorative practices will no longer be another way to peace, a way to peace in our hearts and a way to peace in the world. I declare my commitment to this way, and I appeal to all of us that our commitment always be uncompromised, that we may never lose our way as practitioners, that our practices always be restorative. When I was first with my 14-year-old son after he had been arrested for the murder of Wesley and was in a Florida juvenile detention center, Dominic laid his head on my shoulder and sobbed. And I can never forget my words to him. I will always love you, son. And I will never leave you nor forsake you. Ever since that irreparable and horrific harm was caused by my own son, my clarion call has been this: I must define my future for having what happened not have happened in vain. That the loss of the life of a young man, of Wesley McCool, will not have been for nothing. And that good can come of that, as can come of anything, if we give our lives and are committed to causing what can make the difference. That has been my commitment to him, and continues as my commitment to this work and to all in bondage under the sentence of retribution, whether the offender or the offended, and regardless of the context, whether prisons or schools, whether businesses or churches, whether communities of neighbors or nations. Restorative justice and restorative practices can make that difference if respect for all is never compromised or adulterated. I must quote Dr. Zare: if we pursue justice as respect, treating all equally, we will do justice restoratively. If we do not respect others, we will not do justice restoratively, no matter how earnestly we adopt the principles. The value of respect underlies restorative justice principles and must guide and shape their application. Our work itself, then, becomes our legacy. In the coming years and decades, and even as the centuries pass, our names will be forgotten. But what we accomplish for the resolution of conflict and facilitating new futures for all stakeholders, whether liked or disliked or even hated, shall remain to the benefit of so many who may never know our names or know that we ever walked here. That makes living our lives restoratively worthwhile. Thank you.
I just want to preface that I have a full APA reference citation page ahead of this. So if anyone would like that APA-styled reference page afterwards, please let me know. The graduates understand the struggle is real with APA style. So I just want to say I'm very thankful to be here today. I'm thankful for this movement and for this program and to be able to speak with you all. Ultimately, today I would like to talk with you about one word, and that word is perspective. If I think about perspective and how it's attained, I really find myself going back to three main avenues: experience, time, and awareness. Lamar just spoke of his perspective and how his experiences, time, and awareness have caused it to shift as he's walked through his life. Also, as he mentioned, and what I would like to impress upon us today, is how the gain of perspective lends to great responsibilities. Similar to yourselves, I've walked this program the last few years. I've learned how restorative practices gives us tools to strengthen these relationships with each other and with the community around us. But mostly, I have learned how my perspective has changed because of restorative practices. This program has given us all new perspective, Therefore, we must now take up our new responsibility. We each find ourselves in various positions in life with knowledge and perspective that we've gained. Cato Weingarten spoke of positions and which ones have the most potential to cause harm. This is the position of being empowered, but being unaware. I stand here now with my fellow graduates, proud to say that we do not find ourselves in this position. We have become aware through restorative practices, and now we have become empowered through the completion of this program. Our call to action is our responsibility to spread this same position to others within our community. So how do we do this? Michael White once said that restorative practices is not an approach, it's an attitude. We must live restoratively to be restorative. It is not enough to simply practice these values within our 8-hour work windows every day. We must embody restorative practices in all aspects of our lives if we wish to carry forth this field. Not only this, but we must challenge ourselves to become inventive and collaborative within our restorative work. We have to work together. And we must also become unlearning leaders. Now, this is a new term for most of you, I'm sure, so I want to school you for a second. Jack Aldridge put forth the notion of unlearning to the medical field originally, saying that we as humans are fantastic at learning things. We're able to comprehend new subject matter and apply it to our fields of expertise. However, we are not fantastic at unlearning things in order to make room for new realities. So I want to give an example. He posed this example to this group, this medical group. I'd like to use it now. I want you to think in your mind, envision a traffic sign in America, okay? The traffic sign I'm going to ask you to envision is the yield sign, okay? See the yield sign? Perfect. Think of the colors that make up that sign, okay? Are you all thinking of yellow and black? Yeah? So if you're thinking of yellow and black, you would be correct if you were thinking of a sign before 1971, because in 1971, they changed the colors to red and white. This shows that we all have information in our minds which no longer pertains to the truth. Michael Lebelfeld and Nick Poliak built on the idea of unlearning and applied it to leadership within education, saying that we must be willing to break open our ideas, our previously conceived notions, and be willing to learn new approaches in order to be the most effective in our respective fields. I say this with experience from other areas of social science that the field of restorative practices is our way of unlearning. It is the community's way of unlearning how harm is handled within its walls. It is our culture's way of unlearning how laws and educational standards influence the members of its nation. It is our world's way of unlearning how we perceive the individuals among it, not as equivalents to their mistakes, but as individuals with potential to repair harm that's caused and heal wounds that have been created. I ask us, let us now take up our responsibility along with our new perspective and together give way to this new world of unlearning with restorative practices. Thank you.
This has all the graduates' names on it, so we need this. Thanks again for such a moving and meaningful speeches. Round of applause. We'll hold a circle later, Lamar, for stealing the list of names. In a few moments, we're going to begin with the formal process of the conferral of your degrees. I wanted to say a few words about the significance of the hooding ceremony and the meaning behind it. Academic hoods have different colors. The color citron represents social sciences, and the blue on the hood represents our school color for the IIRP. The wearing of distinctive regalia for universities consisting of a cap and gown and hood began in England. There, in the second half of the 14th century, the statutes of certain colleges prescribed the wearing of long gown by the faculty and students as their daily attire. The tradition of special academic dress seems to have entered the United States through King's College, now called Columbia University, in colonial New York. As recent as 1886, both Yale and Harvard faculty were required to wear academic dress as their daily attire. The hooding ceremony at the IIRP signifies a scholarly and personal achievement. As chief academic officer, placing the hood on the student signifies the passage from student to master. Among the first to recognize this rite of passage is the president of the institution, President Bailey. In a moment, we will begin the conferral of degrees. At the appropriate time, the president will ask you to stand. After he has pronounced the words of conferral, Linda will announce your name, which we now have the list. Please walk to the center of the stage, right here where I'll be, and I'll take your hood from you and place it over your shoulders. This is the moment where you'll go from student to master, and we'll take a moment for any picture ops for that. And then you'll go to President Bailey, where you'll receive your diploma. And then please return to your seat and remain standing. Mr. Chairman, you may begin the ceremony.
The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in 2006 granted to the board of the International Institute for Restorative Practices the right to operate as an authorized and recognized graduate school and to confer Master of Science degrees. We have entrusted this duty and honor to our president, his administration, and our faculty.
This is it. Are you ready? Okay. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Restorative Practices please rise and remain standing? By virtue of the authority vested in our Board of Trustees by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and placed in me by them, and upon the unanimous recommendation of our faculty, I confer upon you the degree you have earned with all of the rights and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Linda Kligman will announce your name, and you will walk to the center of the stage.
Melissa Ash. Melissa is a recipient of the 2017 Sean Such Scholarship. Selected by IIRP's faculty, Melissa demonstrated an outstanding spirit and drive deemed worthy of Sean's memory. Lamar Irvin Culpepper. Kevin Hayward Cutler. Mara Beth Kennedy. Lynn M. Lang. Wendy Schetzel Lesko. Lenny Veronica Ligon. Donald Lee Mills. Mark Nell. Claire Gianni Sinclair. Claire is a recipient of the 2017 Sean Such Scholarship, selected by IIRP's faculty. Melissa demonstrated an outstanding spirit and drive deemed worthy of Sean's memory. Christine M. Singleton. Joy Elizabeth Waldinger. And please congratulate the following graduates who are unable to join us. Erica Christie, Lynn Jones, Linda McDonald, Paul Malecki, Gabriella McKellar, Julius Mills Denty, and Adam Zappa.
Graduates, please be seated. One more round of applause for our graduates and family. Thank you all for joining us for the 11th commencement of the world's first graduate school wholly dedicated to restorative practices. And thank you also to the wonderful Fairmont String Quartet. Beth Small, our faculty marshal, will lead the recessional of the platform party, students, faculty, and trustees. Please rise. These proceedings are now closed. Congratulations.